Ira Joe Fisher. Does that name ring a bell? He was a beloved weatherman in New York City who loved to tell you about the weather with his ability to write backward on plexiglass.
The warmest temperature in the country, Palm Springs, California, got up to 85 degrees today. Specifically in New York, our high temperature was 32. Normally we get up to 39 degrees, and the overnight low temperature was 25 degrees. What's normal for this time of year? 26 degrees, so we were certainly close enough. And the kind of weather that we're going to have tonight, believe me, will be the kind of weather that would probably only put a smile on the face of a Samoyed. You know what I mean?
After hanging up his marker, he became an educator, a writer, a poet laureate of Ridgefield, Connecticut. He's just released his latest book of poetry called The Birth of Snow, and he's here with us today to tell us all about it. Ira Joe Fisher, welcome. It is such a pleasure to have you today.
It is my pleasure to be here, Ann. You were so gracious, and it's so much fun to be in a TV studio again.
Yeah, and it's a big one, right?
It's a huge one.
Right? All right. How did you find the ability to write backward on plexiglass that it made sense?
In the third grade, I discovered that I could do that. I don't know why or how. It's a thing, people think it's dyslexia, and it's not that complicated. I simply have a reversed perception, and millions do.
All right, this is the book right here. There we go. The Birth of Snow. This is so quaint. Step into the heart of Annville. Love that name. A small town where the rhythms of rural America unfold in quiet wonder and profound beauty. This lyrical poetry collection invites you to wander through its streets, linger in its cozy bookstores and coffee shops, and savor the changing seasons that shape both the land and its people. So you go through a little town through your poetry.
I grew up in a village called Little Valley in western New York. Beautiful. 1,100 people. Little Valley because it sits among 3 tree-covered hills, and I love that place. And so I have given it the fictitious name of Annville because of winters. Life there can be cold and hard like an anvil. What a clever pun.
See, I took it just as Ann, A-N.
Well, I named it for you, Ann. I want you to know that.
All right, you dedicated this book to George Clooney's dad, Nick Clooney, who was a great broadcaster. Were you guys buddies?
We were. We worked together for, gosh, 15 years. I love this man like I love a brother. He is the best news anchor, reporter, entertainer. He did a variety show. He hosted a game show, The Amazing Maze, but he's the most remarkable human being with whom I have ever worked. And I treasure his friendship and that of his family.
Why poetry?
I always have attempted to speak with the burnish of poetry and to write even in prose, again with what I call that burnish, Ann, of poetry. There's a felicitous way of writing something, and there is a drab and everyday way of writing something. I want it to be touched with a touch of poetry. And then actually creating poems was a goal that was fun to strive for. I'm not ever saying I've achieved it, but it's fun to strive for that.
All right, give me one of your poems.
Well, okay, day is done, night has come, and there is little else to say except I'm glad to have the dusk to rest in and prepare for the coming of tomorrow's day. I'm going to betray something here. I don't memorize my poems. That I wrote at the age of 19. 100 years ago, and has stayed with me. It's not one of my favorite efforts.
I can see the actor in you too, which you have done as well.
Yes, Fantastics. Briefly in The Prince and the Pauper, in a wonderful film called California Girls with our old pal Regis Philbin, and then a documentary about the Fantastics called Try to Remember. Yeah, and also acting in Ridgefield at our ACT Theater, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and Into the Woods. You know what? I really like attention. I like having an audience, and so I love acting.
What's next?
Well, I hope just a continuation of sharing this power of poetry, and it's a power that really touches my heart, and I want my heart to be a power for someone else to explore poetry, or at least encounter it and give it a chance.
Ira Joe Fisher, thank you so much for being here. This is such a thrill for me.
And Nyberg, thank you so much. And what a joy to see you in person and to watch you on the air. You're so dear. Thank
Please
you.
take care, and we'll see you again.
I look forward to it.
And for more on Ira Joe Fisher and his latest book on poetry, The Birth of Snow, go to WTNH.com or the News 8 app.